Hello, my name is Taylor Register, and my topic is the power of portrayal, stereotypical depictions of autism spectrum disorder in fictional media and their consequences. And before I start, I just want to preface that there is some derogatory language mentioned, so keep that in mind before watching. So, in introduction, autism spectrum disorder awareness has increased drastically in the past few decades, and that can be attributed to technology and the global access to media. Fictional representation in media can be done through film, television, literature, and many popular pieces of fiction portray ASD, some of these being TV such as Atypical, films like Rain Man, and books like The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime. These depictions, however, can be either positive and negative, but they're not usually that clear cut. They usually have positive and negative impacts depending on how they're represented. Some of these positive impacts can be like evoking empathy, interest, and knowledge or education in the audience or the viewers, while negative ones can be stereotyping, exaggerating, and misrepresenting the autism community and resulting in negative perspectives of the community and society. I chose this topic because I love media and watching movies and reading, but also it is because media is definitely becoming more influential on the general public, so I was interested in finding out why that is, how much of the impact it is, and how we can change what society believes of the autistic community. And my thesis was stereotypical portrayals of autism in fictional media cause the perpetuation of misconceptions and stigma in society, leading to biased attitudes and reduced understanding towards individuals with ASD. So research supporting ASD portrayals perpetuating misconceptions and stigma, and this will include research that's reviewing literature already out there or also experimental studies. So portrayal of exaggerated traits. The entertainment industry tends to choose entertainment of their audiences over the accuracy of what they're portraying. In this instance, it's at the cost of the autism community. They tend to favor extremes instead, like extreme traits and character archetypes, instead of displaying what ASD actually is, which is a spectrum and has a variety of experiences. And while this could be deliberate or not, it still has the same impact on the community. One of the most famous tropes is hero, savant, and eccentric genius. Savantism is when an autistic individual has a certain highly specialized skill that they're extremely good at. And this study in particular showed that there was no improvement in knowledge when these tropes were shown. So this dramatic effect can definitely be misleading to the viewers. An example of this is Sam from the television series Atypical, where in the study, while there was mixed perspectives on this, there was one account from an autistic individual that this character was exaggerated in the traits shown. So portrayals of stereotypes. Stereotyping happens amongst many different groups of people and isn't inherently bad by definition, but can be extremely damaging when used in an overgeneralizing or misrepresenting way. Especially in disabilities, they're highly subjected and commonly extended disproportionately. For example, savantism is only found in 10% of the ASD community, but when we see it on TV and in films, it's a lot more prominent. So that just shows that inaccurate distribution of certain traits. One study showed that students in higher education were not expressing or telling their peers their ASD diagnosis because they were afraid of the stereotyping and people already believing a certain way about them. And in general, heightened pressures from these stereotypes lead to masking. So autistic individuals hiding their traits to be perceived differently by society. In general, negative stereotypes promote negative behaviors toward the autism community, and one study showed that these stereotypes really have no informative benefits, so there's no positive trade-off here. Another topic is ableist language and behaviors. So ableism and disableism are both discrimination towards disabled people, with ableism being the emphasis of normalcy of able people, and disableism being focusing on prejudice against disabled people. And so this is obviously accurate in that autistic individuals do experience this derogatory language and behaviors, but at what cost showing it in media, because it could be triggering or uncomfortable to some audiences, but also audiences might take away that this is acceptable behavior when it really isn't at all. One instance of this is othering, which is the dehumanizing of an individual and outcasting them from everyone else, which is seen done to autistic individuals in The Boy on the Bridge, specifically Stephen, who's called robotic, and Raymond from the film Rain Man, who is called multiple derogatory terms. So it really just pushes misconception. And then lastly, limited representation. There is a prominent lack of diversity of autistic characters in media, including race, gender, age, class, sexuality. In one study, they found that the most common autistic character is white and male, but also there were other attributes that were common, including like young and middle age, middle class, heterosexual, and savant. And actually, in one study, they found that characters who are non-white, female, of different ages, and have unique personalities and interests are actually better received by viewers than the cis white male stereotype. And that's most likely due to the fact that they're less relatable and show a more narrowed experience of what it means to be an autistic individual. So research opposing ASD portrayals perpetuating misconceptions and stigma. So this is countering the previous information because there's a lot of nuance to this argument. So awareness and knowledge, inclusion of autistic individuals in media raises awareness and acceptance of the community. So because of this accessibility and interest in media, people tend to read media rather than go out and read academic journals, so it's important to have the correct portrayal. One study showed people who read textbooks versus novels, and the novel readers had higher interest in learning more, fewer correct and incorrect answers, and were 2 times more likely to choose I don't know in the quiz after. And this is most likely because they were more open to learning more and feeling more confident in their answers after more learning. And then another study showed that there's heightened awareness in media helps audiences recognize their own relatability to accurate and diverse characters, so they're able to go out and seek a diagnosis, because many adults are undiagnosed or self-diagnosed. And then for positive and multi-dimensional portrayals, a positive portrayal is attention towards strengths and nuances in the portrayal. So one example is Abed from Community. He's a person of color, not defined by his ASD, and his traits aren't shown as weaknesses. He's multidimensional, and he shows growth throughout the series, and in the end he had a likeness rating of 4.09 on a 5-point scale. So watching ASD in fictional media leads to more positive attributes. Another study showed that viewers who watched certain clips tended to put more positive attributes on autistic individuals in the clips if they watch the informational one over the relatable one. And in general, newer pieces of media are moving towards a more nuanced depiction of autistic individuals. So, implications and personal reflection. Media is sometimes only people's only exposure to autism. So it's important that more research is done to make fictional media more accurate and a chance to educate people. And because there's limited research, that is even more reason to do more research in this field. Additionally, guidance from autistic individuals in these pieces of media would help make a better portrayal. And then positive portrayals tend to encourage viewers to seek potential diagnosis, while negative portrayals discourage autistic individuals from speaking out. So it definitely has a strong impact on the community. Awareness also helps autistic individuals in speaking out and seeking support. So in healthcare, they maybe feel more confident than embarrassed that or scared that there might be biases present. And in public policy, the general community might be more inclined to help and push bills that support people with autism. And then ASD community will also feel more comfortable and represented in the media and create better future media. The issue is that negative portrayals are still accessible in past media, so that's why it's important to actually educate people so that they can see this media and understand what's wrong about it and what's right about it, instead of all the pressure being on who's creating the media. And then my personal reflection is that I've met many people with ASD, so I understand why this is very important. And as someone who wants to work in the healthcare field, I want to understand all types of different people. So that's another reason why I wanted to take the class and learn more about autism spectrum disorder. I've also experienced like seeing negative portrayals online and people making fun of it. So I want to see how I can somehow help reduce this negativity surrounding ASD. And also answer the question of like, why do film creators still follow these ASD tropes? And that's mainly for entertainment purposes. As I mentioned, I love media, and my favorite show is Community, and I love how Dan Harmon does a great job as a neurodivergent person in making a very accurate, refreshing portrayal of Abed. And after all of this, I feel way more educated and feel like I can better see these stereotypes in media and want to continue researching. I'm also very optimistic that it will get better as more people are educated and more research is done in this field. So in conclusion, media stereotypically portrays autistic characters that lead to reinforcement of stigma in society, increasing bias toward the ASD community. And I still feel this is true presently, but I think we're heading in the correct destination or direction in helping make a more positive portrayal of ASD. And to recap, the research supporting this were portrayals of exaggerated traits, stereotypes, ableist language and behaviors, and limited representation, while the opposing showed cases where there was awareness and knowledge, positive and multidimensional depictions of characters, and in general evoking more empathy and change. The implications is that further research needs to be done to help make this change, and inclusion of the ASD community in making media would make it better and more accurate. And in general, I would say for people to be more critical of media being consumed and forming your own opinions instead of just listening to everything you hear, and finally educating yourself so you can be a better person helping the ASD community. So references, here's reference section A, section B. So thank you for listening.